Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to with another review. This week, I checked out The Monkey, and this 2025 film was directed by Osgood Perkins, who actually wrote it along with Stephen King. So Stephen King has a writing credit on this one. And of course, there's other actors like Theo James, Colin O'Brien, and Elijah Wood, among others, of course. So what is the story of this movie? Well, this one follows these two twin brothers, and their father, left them as a child. So they're just, living with their mother. However, their father has like a bunch of stuff in a closet somewhere. And one of them is this monkey kind of toy thing. However, every time they wind the monkey and it, plays its little song, somebody dies in a horrific way. And then they try to get rid of it, and they seemingly do for a little bit of time. And then, 20 years later, the monkey reappears. And so now, as an adult, they have to try to, figure out where the monkey is and, of course, how they can defeat it. What will happen, though? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. All right, so let's discuss this movie. Well, with this one, I had heard it was kind of a crazier horror film. And I don't usually, seek out horror films unless Leo sends them to me. But this one, I had to, seek it out myself. And so I found it, and, wasn't as crazy as I had heard it was. It's pretty weird. It's pretty fun, actually. With this one, all of the kills are super crazy, and they kind of are not, accidents, because the monkey is the one kind of controlling it, but they're just ridiculous. Like every single one of them is ridiculous. And so anytime I saw one of these kills, I just like started laughing at how ridiculous it was. Like even from the very first kill, it's in the first 5 minutes, and then you're like, oh wow, this is what I'm in for. This is pretty good. And so that was certainly a good thing. I enjoyed how crazy the kills were. They were all, like I said, ridiculous, but I think that added to the fun of it, certainly. And I think the kills are kind of what sells this one for the most part, because they're just so ridiculous and so funny even. Like I laughed at quite a few of them. So I was just enjoying it for kind of its wackiness and absurdness of everything that was just kind of happening to these people. So yeah, certainly if you're into wacky horror films, this one might satisfy you. I think one of the things that this movie does best is that it's kind of satirical. Like it certainly is kind of poking fun at the genre itself with certain lines of dialogue. You're like, oh, that's like, a comedy line right there. They have certain things like with the monkey, like it's a toy monkey. Like why pick a toy monkey? Like that's just a ridiculous thing. So I think they know it, of course. Like why not pick, a coffee cup or a lamp or something like that? That's, wish upon the lamp and then you can kill someone, right? Where this is just, twist the monkey's key and someone dies. So it certainly is not quite taking itself too seriously. I think it knows its silly ideas. And so they do play it straight, but ultimately, like, there's a satirical element to it, certainly. They even have like characters. So there's one character called Babysitter Annie. Like, who is this person? Oh, she's the babysitter. It's Babysitter Annie, right? So just kind of, the way it all kind of comes together has this, tongue-in-cheek element to it, which I certainly enjoyed. Also, I thought the acting was good. The main actor, Theo James, I guess he has to play him and his twin, right? So he does a good job, I thought. Even like the children in this one do a good job, because there's a large section about it where it's them as children. I would even say like 50% of the movie is them as children, and they, like I said, do a good job. They actually have lots of big name actors in this one. Most of them just, appear as cameos. They have Elijah Wood as a little cameo. I think their mother is the actress who played She-Hulk. And there's a bunch of other ones as well. I think the main guy from Severance is in this just in the first 5 minutes, right? So there's lots of just, big name actors in this one, which I was actually kind of surprised with. Like, I don't watch horror movies that often, but seeing such big names or, recognizable faces, I was impressed with who they got to be in this film. And it's not, just the streaming. I think this one was in the theaters. I saw it on streaming, but, it's an interesting kind of ensemble cast that they got in this one. So yeah, that I thought was also positive. And I think that brings me to what doesn't work with this one. Well, like I told you, it's kind of poking fun at the genre, but it does it in this really kind of corny way. So if you don't like kind of corny or cheesy, horror movies, then this is not going to be you. It's not scary at all. After all, you know the monkey's there. You know what the monkey is doing. And so it's certainly, kind of just cheesy and silly. Even the writing, like I said, like there's comedy lines in there. There's the babysitter Annie. Like that is such a weird thing to say or a weird name to be in there, but it tells you everything you need to know about this one character, right? And so it's certainly kind of taking a pot shot, I would say, kind of across the bow with kind of the writing and the jokes and stuff, but it gives it certainly a different tone to any, serious horror film. So it's really just more about, the kills and stuff like that. I would also say, even though the kills were, one of the best parts, they're all very quick. Like they just happen in, 10 seconds or less. So it's like blink if you miss it. And so there could be certainly more. And they do have, or at least imply, a lot of kills. And so just having that element to it, I would say makes it for, not like a hardcore horror movie, certainly, but one where if you're just, a casual horror fan, then this might be, something that would be fun. Just, cheesy fun. The thing that annoyed me the most with this film was the monkey itself. Like, it's just such a silly thing to pick, like I mentioned before, but there's absolutely no lore to the monkey. Like, why is the monkey killing people? Never even asked. Like, no one's even looking into that question. They don't go to any libraries to look up any books or anything like that. They just have this monkey toy that's killing people. Why? Don't know. Who cares? That's not what the movie's about, right? Even though it's, the origin story, I guess, of the monkey. And so, yeah, absolutely no lore. And he also teleports. Like, that's never explained. Like, why does it even want to do that? Why can it even do that? No, nothing's explored. So, yeah, that was certainly something I wish they had gone into, like at least a few lines here or there. But yeah, absolutely nothing on the lore of the monkey. Other than that, there's a large part where it is just them as kids and stuff. So if you're not into, watching kids in horror movies, then this is probably, at least half of it's not going to be for you. I certainly enjoyed, most of the adult stuff and kind of how that all plays out. So there is, like I said, slow parts, better parts. You're just really waiting for the kills and they're over way too fast. So yeah, it certainly is a movie. They try their best, but it's got flaws. What can I tell you? So would I recommend this movie? Well, if you're a horror fan, I don't see why not. It's got lots of fun kills and kind of an interesting story. And so, yeah, it certainly is something you can turn on and, have a little fun with. As for a rating, well, I'll give it the average score of 5 because ultimately, I'm not a big horror fan, but it's a perfectly fine movie. Just, it has a kind of a sillier element to it. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.